People often think that Sigma men are cold and hard to get along with, and they are known for ignoring women. Whether this is a protective mechanism or simply their method of dealing with the opposite sex, it appears to work like a charm on most women. But what's the thought process behind this? The Sigma male is a complete mystery. He's a quiet guy who doesn't talk much, but when he does, what he says means a lot. He prefers to spend time alone or with a small group of friends. He's not the kind of person who looks for friends or approval from others. He's happy doing his own thing and doesn't need anyone else to tell him he's good. This sense of independence is one of the things that makes women like Sigma so much. The Sigma male's lack of interest in women can also be seen as a way to flirt. Even though he may not be trying to get their attention on purpose, his actions can still be seen as a sign for them to pursue him. This is why women often chase them, even when they aren't interested. Many people think that the Sigma male is just trying to be hard to get, but the truth is that he doesn't really care what women think of him. He doesn't try to be distant or mysterious. That's just how he is. They are trying to impress anyone or be what other people think a man should be. Women are often more interested in him when he acts like he doesn't care about them. His lack of interest makes them curious and want to find out more about him. Some women can't stay away from the challenge of getting his attention. People think that Sigma men do this on purpose, but there are some psychological reasons why they ignore women. 1. They hate being controlled. Sigma male is a free spirit who doesn't want to be tied down by anyone or anything. They don't want anything that will limit their freedom. They like enjoying life to the fullest and being with those who share their ideals, without any negative judgment or dominating behavior. This doesn't mean they don't like relationships, but they won't be in one just to be in one. They want things that will make their lives better, not worse. They won't waste their time on something that they don't think is important. They won't want to be in a relationship with someone who is a control freak or always wants their attention. They may still want a companion, but they choose someone who will enhance rather than disrupt their current way of life. So they often choose to ignore women who are hard to please or needy, which saves them a lot of time and effort in the long run. 2. They are not fooled by fake princesses and queens. A woman who tries too hard to be something she's not won't impress a Sigma man. They can see through the act, so it won't fool them. They would much rather spend time with someone who is real and true. Sigma is likely to ignore a woman who is putting on a show or trying to act better than she is. Sigma doesn't like this kind of behavior because they care a lot about being honest and open. They want to be with a real, normal person. People all over the world try to put on a false face. The Sigma man has seen everything from fake friends to women who only want money. Someone trying to play games or take advantage of them won't be able to fool them. Some people might think that the Sigma male is being cold or rude, but he is just being smart. He doesn't want to be with these kinds of people. Many fake princesses and queens wear a lot of makeup, designer clothes, and expensive jewelry to try to look perfect on the outside. But they are often unhappy and insecure on the inside. Even though this look often gets men's attention, it won't get the Sigma man's attention. 3. They don't trust people easily. Sigma males may not show it, but they often have trouble trusting people. They may have been hurt before and don't want to let it happen again. So they often put up walls around themselves to make it hard for people to get in. This doesn't mean Sigma is a bad person. It just means they're very cautious. They won't just let anyone into their lives. Before they let someone in, they want to make sure they can trust them. People think that the Sigma man is cold and distant, but the truth is that they are just afraid of getting hurt. They would rather keep their guard up than risk being hurt emotionally. They won't let down their guard easily or give their heart away quickly. When Sigmas see even a small sign of distrust, they quickly pull away and put some space between themselves and the person. They would rather be alone than with someone who always makes them feel uneasy. They're not crazy, they just don't want to take any chances when it comes to their heart. 4. All they want is to be alone. Some people might think this is sad or lonely, but Sigma males love being alone. They don't want to be around people all the time, and too much time with others can make them feel tired. They would much rather be alone, so they can rest and get new energy. This doesn't mean Sigma is a hermit. It just means they sometimes like to be alone. They don't force themselves to hang out with people if they don't want to. They often ignore women who are always trying to get their attention. He won't want to date a woman who is always needy or clingy. They need their own space and want a woman who won't bother them. People often think that Sigma is rude, but the truth is that they're just shy. They don't have to be with other people all the time to be happy and content. In fact, too many people around them can make them feel overwhelmed. This doesn't mean they won't spend the rest of their lives alone. It just means that they usually only put time into relationships they care about. Because of this, they tend to ignore women, either because they don't care or because they don't have time. 5. They're too busy figuring out their purpose. Many Sigma men are still figuring out what they want to do with their lives. They don't want to settle down or do things the way people usually do. They want to go their own way and won't let anyone stop them. People often see this as selfish or egotistical, but Sigmas just want to live their lives the way they want to. They won't let anyone tell them what to do or control them. They often have a strong sense of who they are and can do things on their own. No one needs to look after them or tell them what to do. Sigmas often take risks and don't mind when things change. They are always looking for new things to do and aren't afraid to leave their comfort zone. Some people might think this is dangerous, but Sigmas just don't want to live a boring life. They are not interested in being like the rest of the crowd. Working on themselves might take up all of their time and energy, leaving nothing for a partner. They are too busy trying to figure out what they want out of life to worry about getting married and starting a family. They often don't pay attention to women because they aren't important to them at that time. Sigmas care more about knowing who they are and what they want than about anything else. 6. They don't like the games that women usually play. A lot of men in Sigma are tired of the games women play. They don't want to mess with your head or act cool. They only want a woman who is honest and straightforward. To increase their value, women often try to be hard to get or act like they're not interested. But Sigmas don't work like that. They would rather not try to figure out a woman who plays games than ignore her. They are good at reading people and can see through these games. Sigmas are usually very direct, and they expect women to be the same way. They don't like it when women don't say what they mean or act coy. There are always exceptions to every rule, but Sigma men tend to like women who are open and honest about what they want. They don't want to waste their time on someone who will just mess with their feelings. Trying to control a Sigma is like trying to control the wind. There's no way that will happen. 7. They don't need women to validate them. Sigma males are not the kind of men who need attention or approval from women all the time. They won't change how they look or who they are just to impress her. They are good enough as they are and don't need anyone else to agree with them. Women often try to control and manipulate men by using their femininity, but Sigmas don't work this way. They won't care about how pretty or sexy a woman is. They might be interested in a pretty woman, but she won't be enough to make them forget everything else. They don't go after women to try to make them like them. They know what they're worth and don't base their sense of self-worth on what other people think of them. Sigmas don't act like they want to be noticed. Instead, they often seem uninterested or even cold. They don't need anyone else's approval to feel good about themselves. Many women think he's being rude, but he's just sure of himself. 8. They are just not interested in her. This is probably the main reason why most Sigmas don't talk to women. They just don't like her that much. She isn't doing anything wrong, but the Sigma just doesn't find her attractive or interesting. When it comes to women, Sigmas are usually very picky. They don't want to waste their time on someone they're not interested in. This doesn't make Sigmas shallow, it just means they know what they want. And if a woman doesn't live up to their expectations, they won't bother with her. Sigma man is always looking for something to do. He wants a woman who can take care of herself and keeps his mind active. He won't like a woman who is always trying to make him happy or who agrees with everything he says. He wants a woman who is an individual and has her own thoughts. A woman who can teach him something and not just try to impress him. If not, he will just get bored and move on. They would rather just ignore her and pay attention to something else than try to like her. 9. They have no time for unnecessary drama. The Sigma will not bother with a woman who is always making trouble. They don't want to play games or deal with people who try to make them feel bad. This doesn't mean they don't want a partner with a strong personality and a lot of passion, but they do want someone who can control their feelings. They want someone who is level-headed and can care for themselves without always needing help. So if she is always making trouble or always needy, the Sigma male is probably going to ignore her. This might seem cold or heartless to some, but Sigma is just being practical. They know it's not worth it to get involved with someone who is always making trouble. They'd rather stay away from the drama and focus on the good things in their lives. People often think that Sigma men are emotionally unavailable, but the truth is that they just don't want to get involved with someone who will cause them extra stress. Their lack of interest in these kinds of women is just a way for them to protect themselves.